or hey, you don't have any money, but this is how you raise money to get the money you need, right?
Mm.
So nobody guided us along the way. And I realized I have some skill sets that I can teach people, and it just kind of grew from there.
Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. You can go to our website at them4show.com, our Instagram at them4show, and our YouTube channel at Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making.
And welcome to the M4 Show.
Boss on a Budget started as a side hustle, and it was really because at the time I was helping my partner. He was launching his nonprofit, and I was helping him because had experience in grant writing and had done some of the work. So I was like, okay, I can do this. I can help him launch. And we made all the mistakes, right? Like we did all the things wrong. But in that process, I realized like, who's going to help us like navigate this space? Like, this is a great idea. He was making such an impact in the lives of young people, but there wasn't like a mentor out there or people you could turn to say, hey, do this, not this, or hey, this is where you find funding, or hey, you don't have any money, but this is how you raise money to get the money you need, right? So nobody guided us along the way. And I realized I have some skill sets that I can teach people, and it just kind of grew from there. So I started teaching grant writing classes free in my community. And then from there, I realized like people don't have the basic structures in place for their organization. So they can't even get to the grant because they don't even know how to describe their mission or write out their program and stuff like that. So Boss on a Budget grew from a grant writing kind of focus to nonprofit development. And then eventually, how do you even just raise any money, not just grant writing?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's like it was born from a need, which I feel like is...
Look, we're going to get right back into the amazing podcast. But if you didn't know, in 2017, we created Black Wall Street, the board game, because we thought more families needed to know about the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street. More families needed to know about the legacy of Black excellence left behind of Tulsa Black Wall Street, that we can own a Madam C.J. Walker Beauty Salon. We can have a Booker T. Washington High School. We can have an Uncle Steve's Barbecue. We can have a Renaissance man like Simon Berry, who had his own taxi service and bus service that got bought out by the city of Tulsa. We have brilliance in our DNA. We wanted to make sure that your family can play a game that teaches them about this brilliance. So we have Black Wall Street, the board game, right here. We had the first edition available in 2017. That got sold out. We're on the second edition right now, or you can get the beautiful masterpiece version of the game as well. It's up to you. Head to playblackwallstreet.com and get yourself Black Wall Street, the board game, to empower you, your family, and generations to come. Playblackwallstreet.com. Let's get back to the episode.
Where a lot of businesses and successful businesses come from.
Right.
I wanted to rewind a little bit. You mentioned that you really got here because you made a lot of mistakes. Y'all made a lot of mistakes at the beginning, which we can definitely resonate with.
For
that.
Sure.
So I'm curious to know, what are some of those mistakes that you made that you were able to learn from?
So the mistakes we made had a lot to do with paperwork. So like when you have a passion for the work, and my partner, he was very passionate about the work, but he didn't have the patience for the administrative side. So that's kind of where I stepped in.
I can attest to that for sure.
So I came in and I didn't realize like, oh snap, there's like I owe stuff to the state. Oh snap, I owe stuff to the IRS. And I looked up and our status had been yanked. So I had to go back and reapply for like nonprofit status with the government. It was a lot. So I think the biggest mistake was not paying attention to all the rules and the regulations and staying up on that. But to my point earlier, like there's nobody telling you this. Like there's nobody telling you, hey, check in with the state and make sure you send in this document, because the state doesn't do it. Like they may remind you and say, hey, fill this paper out, but you really find out when you're delinquent or when something bad happens. And I was just used to getting like stuff in the mail that was in pink or in red. And that's how I found out about things. And that's how I realized I was supposed to be doing something.
Mhm.
So that was like I think one of the biggest mistakes we made. But overall, for people who start nonprofits, I think a huge mistake is they don't really think about money. And I think that it sounds funny because everybody needs money and they talk about funding, but they don't do like the necessary planning steps to get to the money. So anytime someone asks me, like, I'm trying to, Tiffany, how do I raise this money? My question is, how much you want to raise and what's your budget? And I always hear crickets. I always hear crickets when I ask that question. And nobody really thinks about how much and what it's for. And if you think about it, when you ask somebody for money, those are the first two questions they ask. How much do
Right.
you need and what is it for? So I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is like not thinking about how to get to the money and just sitting down and writing a budget. It does not have to be that hard, but people make it hard because they're intimidated by budgets.
Yeah.
And then thinking about, if I know what my number is, what's the most realistic way I can get there? And for me, I like doing that because I can be creative, I can dream through it and figure out, okay, this is how we can make the money. But for most people, they back up and they're like, I just want the money. I don't want to have to do the work, which is interesting. But yeah, those are the biggest mistakes I've seen: paperwork and like not focusing on the money.
Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them, wherever you're listening, go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.